Recording in progress.
Receiver realities. Now, the realities that unlock when you open your heart chakra. What does that mean? What does that allow for you? How can that inspire you? And how can you access exactly what this is and understand how it's supporting the 144 and the group consciousness on their own unique soul mission, but also in the collective pathway forward. So through my work as a interdimensional, multidimensional quantum healer, and through being a clear conduit, I've come up to the interpretation and understanding through many different countless clients and research that many of us hide or place things in different realities so that we don't access them until we're ready. It's like a foolproof plan to ensure that I don't remember this, I don't access this until I'm ready, until I can receive the information without misusing it, without going crazy, without perhaps repeating the same patterns or mistakes that we might have made in past incarnation cycles. And so what we created as a group, so the 144, the Bringers of Change, we created what's called receiver realities. Now, a receiver reality is an interdimensional reality that exists within the quantum field, and it is its own separate reality, and it's full of information like a library, similar to what you might say is your Akashic library or those of the different Alexandra, the halls of Amenti, different libraries. There's many different libraries. Some are written about in scripture and some are spoken about in the different quantum experiences and spiritual realms when you start to develop yourself in these ways. But these are realities that a lot of people journey to and they don't even recognize that they are. And it's called the receiver's reality. And so the receivers become something available when you can actually receive. So human beings have little to no capacity to receive until their heart unlocks, until their heart opens, purifies, cleanses, and releases the forgotten love. The love for self, whether that be connection to source through self-love, whether it be that your inner child hasn't been integrated and you're still seeking and searching love of one of your parental figures and looping the pattern through relationships or validation through your peers and collective brothers and sisters. This heart expression, the purification of the heart, can only come into receivership of life, receivership of your gifts, receivership of your abilities, receivership of clarity of your path when that heart unlocks and becomes what you call the crystalline heart chakra, the solidified open heart. Because until then, receiving is actually something that is considered painful, fearful. It becomes something that is manipulated, and it is distorted through the lens of the separate mind or the identity. Based on whatever human experiencing has occurred, there is a realization that this heart chakra that opens and closes, it has a level of being out of love if it's in a closed protective state. So without the heart being open, the gifts, the abilities, the power that one has as innate magic within cannot be accessed. It's like a foolproof plan to say, well, we've worked with our power in the past and it hasn't been very helpful in some of the ways we've come at it. So until I open my heart, I'm not going to really truly see my power. I'm not going to really truly remember my path, and I'm not going to access my blueprints. And so what happens when you go into this receiver reality is you actually receive what is called remembrance templates. And so your remembrance templates are information that hold exactly the remembrance of why you came to Earth, what your mission is, and what your purpose. Now, remembrance has a very specific frequency, a very specific vibration that is to remember oneself. But if you can't receive and you haven't gone through heart purification and transformation and solidification, then you can't receive your remembrance. So the hierarchy of consciousness is you can end up for many, many years lost on your path, seeking your mission, searching outside of you, looking for love in all the wrong places. And it's only when you meet that fragmentation, that core disconnection point from your heart chakra, that allows for the crystalline energies to come back online and for the frequency of the receivers to be activated. So this receiver reality means that basically, as the hierarchy of consciousness works, that you've unlocked a level of remembrance in self-love, remembrance of the true worthiness of love, the feeling that is so deeply ingrained. When you connect to that, you know you receive that you've always been this, that you never lost it, that it was always a misperception or a misconception. And when you witness that, it dissolves just like magic. And it's the most beautiful, connective, and fulfilling experience. And that of the wounding that has been held through lifetimes sometimes completely dissolves in this crystalline reconciliation of the heart. And when that happens, a vibrational tone is released. It moves up through the spinal column, it activates the third eye, and it starts to engage and interact with the interplay of the universal consciousness that allows you to access the different realities that we're calling or have called the receivers. So these interdimensional realities. Now, a lot of people start to download at this point. They start to receive information about their path. They start to get really clear about where they're going. They start to have key, profound moments of self-interpretation and self-validation of their path, because this heart is a pivotal point of being able to be in a level of self-conviction, self-belief, self-love. And without that path forward, that Creator, God's path, it becomes wavering. It is very hard to reveal exactly what it is you're here for until you have that self-belief, that self-nurture, that ability to self-soothe. Because if you don't have access to this aspect of your heart to be able to receive, you're unable to give without conditions, right? So if your heart hasn't opened and you can't receive and you haven't accessed your receivership connection points through this pathway of consciousness and telepathic downloads, which is what it is, it connects to this third eye, and you start to receive insight and vision and unlocking forward, you're not able to follow that path because you don't receive God's message in clarity, because you don't receive yourself in clarity, you don't believe in yourself, you aren't in a state of stabilization, and therefore that path that you came here to walk cannot open and be provided for you, because it would be a path of turbulence, it would be a path of failure, and your service without the receiving in reciprocity, in this equilibrium of awakening to this aspect, could become detrimental to the path forward. Because what happens is the separate mind receives that information and interprets it how it wants to interpret it, not how your heart is truly showing you to walk that path. And so these receiving, the receivers, lots of receiving, the receiver's realities in these interdimensional portals will unlock. And then as you're moving from this open heart, this newfound self-belief, this loving crystalline energy, your heart begins to stay in its raw, open vulnerability. It stays in its tenderness. And that might take some time, some adjustment. But what happens is when the heart is open, so open, it allows for the message of God, Source, Creator to come through you and to move into those points of stored crystalline cells which hold information in connection to these receiver realities, where your remembrance can then begin to come online in its totality, and you get to start to map out your dharmic path. So the aspect of your heart shifting and opening these receiver realities, you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to travel interdimensionally to find them, to receive your remembrance templates. All that is required is for you to stay in your heart space, in this beautiful, raw, vulnerable, open connectivity where naturally these frequencies move through you and from you. And then you allow yourself to be that vessel, that channel, that this information starts to break open other aspects within your cellular structure, where you've got stored expressions of what it is that you're exactly serving, exactly how you do it, exactly who you serve, when you serve, what gifts, abilities, and things you've evolved through over time and space to bring. And the clarity all comes forward. The clarity is revealed because you now have what you would call a level of honor to hold it, a level of self-belief and trust to walk it, and it's entrusted in you. So as this collective shift occurs, as many of you are moving through your crystalline heart purifications, there is ways that you can support yourself so that you can start to receive from the receiver's reality and to bring in those connection points with your remembrance templates. And it's not about seeking or searching the clarity, nor is it about remembering or activating. It's just about staying open. And so with the crystalline heart, if you can start to envision and see this crystalline structure within your heart, where you get to see these white, pink threads that sparkle through and weave through, just like shimmering silk threads that create a very specific vibration. And this golden, white, pink, almost like a rose gold color, threads through that heart space, and it actually reconnects the synapses of the cells and of the organ itself to connect into the other areas of your physical anatomy and your chakras. And another way that you can do that is through the visualization process. But as you're doing it, then asking your heart and this crystalline frequency to connect into each chakra in both directions. So your center of your heart, you will then connect to your solar plexus, but you connect it from the above to the below to the above. Then you connect your heart to your sacral, from the below to the above to the below. Then you connect your heart to your root, your heart to your knees, your heart to your feet portals, your heart to the Earth Star Chakra, your heart to the center of Mother Gaia or Sister Tara. And then you do it in the reverse. You connect your heart in both directions to your high heart, to your throat, up and back. So it's communicating in both directions. Your heart to your third eye, your heart to your crown, and then your heart to the 5 chakras above your head, and then up to the highest point of what you might call unity, universal, God, Source, Creator, or whatever that expression of truth in those upper realms is for you. But what you do is you allow for your heart to be the connection in intelligence by reconnecting what has been unplugged. The heart is the filtration system to ensuring truth, God, Source, Creator can be heard in its vibrational resonance. Without the heart being interconnected, the receiver is unable to hear the message. So if you can work with connecting with that heart, but ensuring that heart is in communion and conversation with all layers of your being, then you'll find that keeping it open, keeping it receptive, and keeping it aware of what's moving through you and from you will allow for a more easeful transition into living as a heart-led being. I hope you enjoyed this transmission. If you did, please like, subscribe, and if you would like to receive direct channels or any of our quantum remembering transmissions and support in our community, please follow the links to find Bring the New Earth Tribe, which is which is a $36 a month subscription, or you can contact me directly and organize a one-on-one for quantum remembering sessions in the form of direct channeling or the DAC process, a quantum healing, where we move through all of the different realms and receive exactly these things in a transformative journey. I love you so much. Thank you for your time, your energy. Until then, ahava.